special guest appearance. He's probably not supposed to be here. He's probably supposed to be at work.
I'm supposed to be in Nottingham.
Yeah, this isn't Nottingham.
Is it not?
No, it's Nuneaton.
It begins with an N.
It's
It begins
Nuneaton.
with N and it's close.
Yeah. Close to Nottingham, isn't it?
You must have the sat nav that's in my FOT, mate.
There's a good sat nav.
Doesn't know where it's going, what it's doing, tells you to turn round. Yeah, it tells you to go somewhere, even when you've arrived, it's like turn round.
It's actually only got two places in it. Home and my second home, Dynodaze.
I like it. That's the problem.
Home, Dynodaze.
You've tried to put Nottingham in, and it's just thought, no,
As soon as
I'm
you
going
press
to...
N, Dynodaze.
No, you're straight to Dynodaze.
Yeah.
There you go.
You enjoyed watching this being back, didn't you?
I really did. It's really interesting.
I was explaining to him the bit that Richard was doing with the can timing, so I actually find that quite interesting.
It is
myself,
very interesting.
So Barnsley found that quite interesting. So how's things?
All good, my friend, all good.
Do you watch your live chat this morning?
I certainly do. You know I watch every morning.
Thank you, sir.
As
Thank
I
you,
do.
sir. We're streaming to many, many places now. Many places. It's all good fun.
All good.
Yeah. So Richard's going to explain what we've done in a moment. We're just waiting on him. Jensen, you want to come in? Going to be in the middle of this man sandwich. Now Jensen's been looking at. Why don't you tell the ladies and gentlemen what you've been looking at potentially buying?
An EP2.
An EP2. I know. Now it's very attractive to look at, isn't it?
Yeah. Type R replica. Because I can't afford a real one.
And can you insure an EP2 Type R replica?
Yes.
Wow, sir. When I mean can you insure it, what I meant was, how many of your organs do you have to sell to be able to afford this?
At least one of my hands.
One of his... A hand?
Yeah.
A hand. That sounds like he's lost a bet with the...
Maybe a few inches.
A few inches.
Ooh.
Oh, that's enough of that, Jensen. If that's how you pay for your car parts, it's just
Taking
a few
inches off, you're in trouble.
No, he just said it was an inch. Can you remember getting your first car? Do you remember shopping around? It's so much different these days. Barnsley, can you remember the Auto Trader when it was the paper book? I used to have one of them by the side of my toilet every week. I'd sit there on the loo, because this was before iPhones.
Yeah.
I'd sit there on the loo, reading through the Auto Trader. I'd flip to the green section first, because those were cars below £1,000, I think.
Yeah.
Then I'd go to the orange section, which I think was sports cars. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, the Auto Trader, the actual book, paper, magazine type version, that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. In fact, if anyone's got an Auto Trader sat somewhere in your house that's gathering dust,
Because you'll be looking at like Renault 5s.
I'd love someone to. I'd love someone to post me.
And
And
for
I'll,
like £2.5 grand and stuff,
Yeah.
£2,000, and you'll be like, well, I paid in when I was 19, which would have been. I'm trying to think now. What year would that have been? I would say 99, 2000 ish. I think I bought a RS Turbo off a mate that had one, and two lads had him. Had a red one and a grey one, and they were both going into the army. So the red one got sold before I had a chance to go and look at it.
Yeah.
And the grey one was up for sale, and I paid £2,200 for that, which was all the money in the world that I had at that point. And I bought that, repainted it, did a few bits on it, whatever, and then I sold it to buy. I paid the deposit on my house actually. And
do you know how much that would cost you if you tried to buy that?
oh
car
yeah,
now?
I mean, if you were looking at those now in the condition that mine was in my opinion, because I'd done all the welding work on it, had bits done on it that it needed doing, repainted it, stuff like that. You know, you're probably looking like 15, 16 grand now for a car to that level, or what that car was at that time. Anyway,
I sold a Renault 5 for 50. The last Renault 5 GT Turbo that I owned, I sold for £1,500. It was black and silver. It had a silly body kit on it, and all sorts of different coloured hoses and bucket seats. It was trevved, proper, but that's what I liked. But it was trevved, and I sold it for £1,500, and I was firm. I was like, "You're not leaving it without giving me £1,500."
Yeah.
That same exact car, I seen for 15k because they'd actually put it back to factory.
Yeah, put it
and
back to
looked
stock.
Stunning in tungsten grey, absolutely beautiful car. RJM, I think the plate was.
But I think the thing trouble is as well is we've all got a bit of a fancy about the cars we drove around in the 90s or whatever, and it's fair you probably get back in them and it's probably pretty awful.
Yeah.
You know, if you've been. You know,
I'll never buy a Fiat Uno Selector again.
No, definitely not. No, but what I'm saying is, you drive around in modern cars, you know, say like, oh, well, none of us really own a modern car. They're like brand new, but you know, like modern cars sort of thing. And
Honda CRZ.
yeah, you
the
get used.
modernist
You
thing
got used to all that, and then you sort of get back in that, and you're like, oh God, is it broken? It doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, like
getting it over and the gear sticks. Like
yeah.
that.
I mean, you look at the RS Turbo, it was 132 brake. I mean, back in the day, that was a fast car.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
my friends, when they were all driving around in their cars, you were annihilating them at 132 brake, and it was the fastest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But in reality, you can literally go and buy a Fiesta EcoBoost with more power.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
And half an engine.
Yeah, 1 litre 3-cylinder. Yeah, exactly. So it just shows you how far we've come in that respect, and probably the fantasy of owning it would be a lot less than the actual reality.
It's all going electric, mate. So we'll have to retire at some point.
Oh, no electric, mate. You got to remember. Yes, whilst it is going electric, and I feel that is certainly for say city centres and stuff a way forward. It's not a solution. It isn't a solution. The grid can't cope with it. Like there's people that don't have driveways. So if you live in a town and you have to park outside your house,
charge it.
Exactly. And if someone parks in your spot and then you've got to park 6 houses down or 10 houses down because that's the only space, how are you charging your car? You're not going to run a cable, are you, from your house 100 metres down the road?
This is why the American government, I've said government now, this video will probably get banned. The American government have to release this UFO technology, this free energy. They have to do it.
I'm not getting into that with you.
Why?
I'm really not.
The Americans have had free energy forever.
Oh no, I believe that there's probably
Anti-gravity drives and all sorts.
There's people out there that have developed fuels that engines can run on that are done, and obviously the big companies, the fuel companies, will obviously buy it up, put it in a drawer somewhere, and completely forget about
Give
it.
them 2 million, never speak about that
And
again.
never talk about it again, because obviously they will, because they're making billions of pounds selling fossil fuels, and they will still continue to do that until there is no other choice. But yeah, things like hydrogen and stuff are the way where a lot of things are going forward, isn't they? Like you have an Arctic truck.
Mr. Fusion from the Back to the Future car. You could just put beer cans and banana skins in
Yeah, get it going. But what I'm saying is, if you imagine a big truck towing 40 tons, that's not going to run on batteries, is it? It can't.
No.
And it isn't going to, because you're not going to be able to get enough life in the batteries to tow that, to get that vehicle to move that weight. So those vehicles are going to have another solution, and then ultimately that's going to filter down into cars, isn't it? It's not going to. Like I say, petrol's done in the sense of we're looking for other alternatives, but I don't believe electric's the answer.
No, hover cars, anti-gravity, that's what I'll go with. This is not an anti-gravity hover car, this is a Honda Civic EP3 Type R, and we've tuned it up to date. And how have you got on?
Before, and I'll say it again. Life was pretty fast.